Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the Board-to-Board webinar. My name is Emma Maynard, and I am the Assistant Director of Career and Network Programming in the Alumni Office. And joining me is Sarah Oram, also an Assistant Director in the Alumni Office, overseeing student engagement and philanthropy. And you have been receiving some emails from us regarding an exciting new mentorship program that we are launching with our Alumni Association Board and Student Alumni Association Board. So first of all, thank you for joining. Whether you're joining live with us right now or if you're viewing the recording, we hope that this information will give you a little bit more of a foundation to kickstart the mentorship experience. So, today, this webinar should be pretty brief so you can get on with the rest of your day, but we are going to cover just an overview again of what the Board-to-Board Mentorship Pilot Program's purpose is, some of the key expectations of our mentors and mentees that are participating, along with a timeline of what to expect. You'll then receive some information about just generally what a mentorship relationship is as far as best practices and additional resources that are available to you to make the most out of that experience. And then, of course, you are able to ask some questions at the end of this or throughout. If you have questions, feel free to use your chat feature and send those in, and we'll be sure to address those. But as always, as you saw in the email, you can email Sarah or I any questions that you have throughout the mentorship experience, and we're happy to address those. So to kick things off, I'm going to pass things off to Sarah. Just give me 1 second here as I share some rights. All right, Sarah, you want to take things away and start with a general overview of what the Board-to-Board Mentorship Program is all about.
Sounds great. Thanks, Emma, and hello to everybody on the call and that's watching the recording. Those of you, by this point, you should have this information. The next few sort of slides we're going to go over are just the details of the program, and by this point, you should have had some of this information, and it should be familiar to you based on emails that we've been sending. So it's rather text-heavy. I'm just going to kind of briefly go over it, but you will have this as a reference later to go through and deal with those details regarding the program. But we're really excited. This is a pilot program for us, and we're really excited because at the heart of both the boards and our missions and strategic vision are the idea of building relationships and networks and connections. And so this is a really great opportunity for professional development for both students and our mentors. It is a 3-month-long commitment, so we'll kick things off today and kind of go through the first part of June. And we'll be alongside you the whole way, but it's going to be a great opportunity for people to share knowledge, both mentors and mentees alike. And please know that we are working on those matches, the mentorship matches, based on the profiles that you all have completed to make sure that there is some common areas of interest and to hopefully enhance that relationship to make it that much more meaningful. Speaking of expectations and such, let's make sure there we go. Some of you may have been a part of a general mentoring program or have been in a mentoring experience in the past, and some of you may be brand new to this. But the important thing that Emma and I want to make sure that you know is there's some just general expectations, and then we have some pretty explicit expectations for each role. And generally, this is going to be, mentorship is really what you make of it. The more you put into it, the more productive and kind of meaningful that relationship will become. At the very core and sort of the basic expectations is that just to communicate and be a great communicator, both mentors and mentees alike, and respond to one another respectfully. We are going to have some regular correspondence with you and some specific commitments and expectations of how often you'll be chatting, and so we really would hope that you would honor those commitments. And all the while, the most you're going to get from this is to really kind of take time to make meaning and reflect, and to be really purposeful in awareness and participating in what the program has to offer and also in just this interaction. We hope you're just as excited as we are to see, the great connections and relationships that are going to emerge from this program. And so explicitly, the mentor expectations, again, this is really text heavy, so if you can't, I'm not going to go over bullet by bullet. You all can read, but just going to highlight some of the most important pieces for us. The expectation is that it's a 3-month-long program, and we want you to be a part of that from the beginning to the end. That the communication really, it is a confidential, professional relationship, and that initially is kicked off by the mentor to reach out to the mentee, contacting the mentee sort of after this webinar, once we email out your match to begin kind of the program and kick things off. The important thing is, in terms of timing, is that we really want you all to engage in conversation for at least 2 virtual or in person. There might be some of you that are geographically able to connect and meet up, which would be awesome. But even if not, there's so many great ways that you can FaceTime or Skype or meet virtually at least 2 times a month, all the while maintaining regular contact with your mentee at least once a week during that program. Like I mentioned before, Emma and I will be with you throughout the whole program, offering additional resources and prompts and support to make sure that you all have what you need to maintain, and reminders. As much as we want to believe that this is going to be a priority for everybody, we know that things come up, and so sometimes some weeks are crazier than others, and so we'll be there to kind of help make sure that this still stays in the forefront of your week. It is an opportunity to sort of really kind of help the students understand that the connection to JMU doesn't end when you graduate, and so you all on the Alumni Association are a great testament to how you can stay involved and what the benefits are of staying engaged with the university, and have a great wealth of knowledge to share with our students about that post-graduation experience and just life experience. I think there are going to be some topics that we'll want you all to address and talk about, but really this is going to be, as you guys develop and work together to develop that relationship, an opportunity for you to act as a mentor, or act as an advisor, and answer any questions regarding what that student is going through. And then last but not least, I think some of the expectations, because we've said that this is a pilot program for us, Emma and I are looking to gather feedback, and that can be throughout, but we also expect that you would participate in the post-program survey so that we can, enhance this program again as we do it again the next time, to make it even better the next time. In terms of mentee expectations, very similar. Obviously, it's still a 3-month program, so we want you to be committed and working on making this a priority through June. Obviously, students, once graduation hits and the semester is over, you might not be in Harrisonburg, you might not be in the country, and so it could throw a good challenge into what communication looks like, but the hope is that by choosing the best method of communication, you all can still participate, whether you're here or abroad, via email or Skype or so on and so forth. So obviously the expectations, we're encouraging you to either attend or watch this webinar, and then the same type of thing, that you will be responsive to schedule, attend any meetings on FaceTime or through the phone or in person at least 2 times a month, all while maintaining email communication at least once a week. Again, this is the sort of the minimum, so our hope is that the relationship will really kick off, and perhaps you're regularly emailing, and that's what works for you all as you see fit in the mentorship relationship. It is really important from the student perspective that you share and be open and be vulnerable as much as you can to sort of share feedback and be open to feedback, share your goals, talk about the struggles that you're going through, talk about your successes, and really kind of try to gather as much as you can from your mentor. The great thing about a mentorship experience is that while the mentor will have a lot to share, I can guarantee that mentors will learn a lot from you as mentees. And so it's also important for you to recognize that it's a reciprocal relationship, a mutual relationship, and I think both parties are really going to grow, and we hope and expect that of you. The last little thing, in addition to the students also completing the post-program survey, we really want to sort of bring this home and help you reflect on the meaningfulness of the program by writing a one-page reflection at the end of this to share with your mentor and to kind of wrap things up as you move on into your summer and whatever else is ahead of you. So those are the expectations, and I think, I've reiterated this, the communication really is going to be what is most appropriate for the relationship that you start with your mentor or mentee. And so in that first communication that mentors will send to mentees, we really want you to encourage and be sort of explicit about what is the best way to get in touch, what is the best way to communicate. And that could look different at different times. Like I said, if a student is leaving for the summer and things look different, or there's a really busy time for a mentor at work that overlaps with this program, being really explicit as to what is the best mode of communication that's going to be preferred, at least for that initial meeting, and then kind of making a plan moving forward. Obviously, if the in-person scheduling allows for you to meet in person, that's ideal. And we're hopeful that in the next few months there's enough things happening on campus that are going to bring many of the board members to campus that there could be an opportunity for you to schedule some time then. But at the very least, virtually, phone, FaceTime, Skype, and email are going to be your regular modes of communication. And like I said before, Emma and I will be with you throughout all of it, so please make sure that you keep us abreast of something's working or not working, or you need help or support to kind of reach out and make sure that the communication is happening. So I'm going to turn it back over to Emma, and she's going to talk more broadly about mentorship and less of all this detail stuff and more about the fun. So I'll turn it back over to you, Emma.
All right, thank you, Sarah. All right, everybody. Well, as you can see, we're really excited about this program, and it's going to be a learning opportunity for all of us. So really taking note of the fact that, this will be a process, and as we go along, please share your feedback and your questions with Sarah and I so that we can help make this really an impactful and incredible experience for both mentors and mentees, especially in this pilot version. So we talked really specifically about, what our goals and purpose are for the board-to-board mentorship program. But maybe you need just a refresher in general about, what is a mentorship? It's such one of those hot topic words, but maybe we should take a look at the root of it again. I'm a big quote person, so you see right there in the center, Sarah really emphasized this, that, it's a two-way street. So you really get out what you put in, and that is on the mentor and mentee side. So it's about meeting somewhere in the middle and coming prepared and really being fully invested in the experience and in that relationship. So it's, a learning partnership. There's a guidance to support and learn and grow together. And it's going to be an active process for, the next 3 months, and we really encourage you to get to know one another on a deeper level. This is a video here. I'm not going to play it right now. It is under 5 minutes, so I know that is helpful for all of our busy schedules. but I definitely recommend that you take a look at this. It'll be included at the end of this webinar and also in the email that Sarah and I will send out with your matches. But it's an incredible story that really emphasizes that impact of mentoring. This is a woman who had a pretty tough experience in college. She was a first-generation college student, had some trouble really figuring out what her career path should be, and discovering her passions. And she talks about her journey and really talks about somebody in her life that had a major impact. And it was just for a brief amount of time. I know thinking about 3 months, you're either thinking, wow, that seems like a long time, or you're thinking, you know, what real impact can 3 months have on my life? And I think this story really emphasizes how even just one day in a mentoring relationship, whether you realize it is a mentoring relationship or not, can really have a long-term effect. So I definitely recommend that that's something that you all take a look at. So I want to talk about just some general tips for our mentors out there, you know, to go along with the guidelines of the program itself, but just generally, you know, how can you not just be a mentor, but be a really impactful and amazing in that role? So as we mentioned, especially in that first meeting with your mentee, we definitely want you and your mentee to set expectations together. And you will be receiving some resources to prepare for your first meeting in that match email. So definitely open that up and read through. There's some great strategies for setting goals together, setting a timeline, and even communication strategies. So take a look at that and definitely really implement that from the start. I mentioned taking that genuine interest in your mentee as a person. So getting beyond the basic level of, you know, what's your major, what's your year, and get to know them on an individual basis. What are they going through? What are their true goals and passions, and how can you as your mentor advise them to reach their full potential? Number 3 is really great for those like me who like to talk a lot. Sometimes, you know, you need to know when to wait before giving advice. Even when silence can be a little awkward, sometimes it's better to be that listening ear. And even if it's a day or two before you go back to your mentee to provide some of your feedback, we definitely recommend that because it gives you a chance to really think about what your mentee came to you with and provide the best guidance for them. You know, don't assume anything about your mentee. Ask them. So again, as things maybe in your conversation are crossing your mind, be open and vulnerable with your mentee because we hope that they'll be the same in the relationship. You know, be forthcoming about mistakes that you've made. That's an opportunity to show that you know, are a human as well and that we can make mistakes and still move forward and progress. And that'll also help the mentee with some problem-solving skills. If they encounter similar situations down the road, they'll hopefully be equipped with more tools to address them. Also celebrate achievements. It's always great to provide constructive criticism and advice, but also when your mentee comes to you with their accomplishments, make sure that you take that time to celebrate the work that they've done. And also giving more than you ask for, taking that you know, extra step, giving a little bit more of that time or you know, just with the initiation of meetings or projects. You know, we really want, again, for our mentors and mentees to meet somewhere in the middle on that two-way street of the relationship. And that kind of dives into number 8, thinking about your mentee as you get to know them on a more personal level and what their, you know, goals are, what their passions are, really tailoring what you think professional development opportunities may be out there that you could connect them with, and really show them the power of the Madison Network and helping them, again, reach their full potential and stretch themselves maybe to a distance they weren't sure they could actually reach. And think about solving for the long term. As we mentioned, this is a 3-month-long program, but we hope that the impact of this relationship goes beyond that 3 months. So think about that in your interactions, in your conversations, in really the activities that you plan to do with one another in order to both professionally develop. And also, I mean, number 10 is a given, just leading by example, especially, our AA board members. Sharing your engagement with the university after you've graduated, and emphasizing that there's still this connection and passion that can exist, and all that you can do once you've crossed the stage to really still, bleed purple. And then from the mentee side, some of these are the same, and that is because it's that two-way street. You will set expectations together from the beginning, so make sure that you initiate that conversation with your mentor, and that you're engaged and you're present for that conversation and that relationship. And just as the mentor should take interest in you, get to know your mentor on a personal level. Outside of just being your mentor, what do they do? What is their career? What are their passions and their goals? As Sarah emphasized, this should really be a learning opportunity for our mentors and mentees to gain some sort of development from this relationship. Also, mentees, show up for the relationship. That's not just, physically showing up, but being mentally there. And as I mentioned, the resources that Sarah and I will provide will give both our mentors and mentees some strategies on how to make sure that you're getting the most out of the experience. So it may require quote-unquote homework, but we hope that some of that will lead to even more impactful experiences. Being yourself and building meaningful rapport, being vulnerable and honest with your mentor about your passions and goals will help them advise you more strategically for what you hope to gain from participating in this program. And that's same with seeking and accepting feedback. Your mentor is not, hopefully at times will act as a friend, but they're also going to tell you things and advise you in ways that you may not like what you hear, but just be open to hearing some of the feedback, because our mentors are just providing you that in hopes that it will help you down the road and help you grow in whatever your goals are. So number 8, I like the elephant will crush you. As a student, you have a lot going on, and there may be things on your mind that, when you show up for your meeting with your mentor, you're thinking about something else, and that can detract you from really engaging in that conversation. So think about, shining the light on that elephant, because it could be something that your mentor could help you work through. And then, as Sarah mentioned, we are asking you as mentees to reflect on the experience through writing, a one-page reflection for your mentor to read. And the post-survey will be an opportunity for both our mentors and mentees to reflect on the experience. And then number 10 is just for the long term. Think about passing it along one day. This is a pilot program, so Sarah and I are hopeful that this will continue. So, to other students, talk about your experience being in a mentoring relationship. So hopefully more students take on the opportunity and seek it out. And then, when you're ready, think maybe about being that mentor to somebody else, because it can be such an influential experience for those to become involved in. So Sarah and I just wanted to end with just a few resources here that we've collected. As we promised, we are here with you all along the way through the whole 3-month program. These resources will be included in your match email, so keep an eye out for that. We are really excited about this program, and as you all have questions and are going through this, as you have feedback, again, we can't emphasize enough that we would love for you to share that with us, and we're excited to see this launch really officially today. So I believe, Sarah, is there anything else you want to add before we open it up for questions?
The only thing is just to be on the lookout in the next day or two, by the end of the week, for an email from Emma and I with your match and with the links to this information and others. So, you know, just make sure that you're taking a look at that and letting us know how else we can help you, or if you have any questions about the match and how to get in touch with your mentor or mentee.
Great. All right, well, does anyone have any questions at this time? You can either raise your hand or go ahead and use the chat feature and send in a question to us. If you prefer to do it off of this webinar, you can also just email Sarah and I directly, and you should have our emails from the initial correspondence. So I'll just give it a minute. All right, Larry, I'm going to unmute you so that you can share your question. All right, Larry, you should be able to.
Yeah, a few of us, I think, are going to have more than one mentee, and just wondered whether on some occasions there's anything wrong with, for example, inviting two to an event, you know, a JMU game or dinner or something like that.
Sarah, do you want me to field it?
I mean, my initial response is I think that's great. You know, I think the more that we can connecting one another and building upon that relationship, I think that's a great opportunity to take it more informally and to do something in person. That's awesome.
Yep, that's exactly what I was going to say too. Thanks, Larry. Do you have any other questions?
Nope, that's it.
All right, thank you. Does anyone else have any questions before we wrap things up? All right. Well, again, thank you all for either joining live or if you're viewing this recording. We appreciate your time, and we look forward to navigating this program with you. We just hope that you have a great rest of your day, and we will be in touch soon. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks. Bye.